Hello, everybody. From Frets and Fingers, I'm Alex Pickard, and you're watching the Jam Sesh. Today, we are joined by guitarist Dominic Flynn. He is a musician and content creator out of the U.S., pulling some heavy views of his content due to his skillful guitar playing and unique content approach. Join us as we chat about the ins and outs of content creation, guitar, business, and much more. Without further ado, Dominic Flynn, welcome to the Jam Sesh.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
That's awesome, man. And I guess for the people who don't know who you are, you want to give us a little background on yourself, how you kind of got into content creation, guitar, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I got a guitar on my 11th birthday, and I grew up playing at my local music store, just kind of how a lot of kids that age start. They get a guitar and enroll in private lessons, and from the get-go, I was just really obsessed with getting better and better. I eventually decided to go to USC to major in classical guitar. And when I was at USC, studied a lot of different styles like classical, jazz, flamenco, and started writing my own music and started writing my own pieces on classical guitar. And then when the pandemic hit, I started making videos on the internet, mostly on TikTok at the time, and started to get more into the popular music space, and that led me to where I am today.
That's great, man. Yeah, I kind of took a peek at your old YouTube videos from back in the day, and I noticed, yeah, so you're a classically trained guitarist, which is kind of cool because I do kind of see that in your content. You have like a very strong fingerstyle bass, which is always nice, you know.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I it's really funny that you mentioned that because I think a couple days ago I was looking at, well, I was thinking about what kind of long form YouTube videos I can post. And right now I have music videos for my songs and stuff up. And I looked back and I realized there's a lot of old videos that I just thought were on private that weren't. And it's all my old classical guitar things, some jazz things. And there's even, I wasn't expecting them to get any views at all. And there was even some comments on them from people that follow me today. And I just thought, oh, that's so funny. That's a part of my life that seems just so old, but I guess it's resurfaced a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, to kind of find like where you want to take the direction for the long form content because I'm having a hard time with that too because like I just make short form and then so now I'm kind of doing these chats with other content creator and guitarists to see, just get some information and just have a good chat because it's nice to talk to someone with similar interests, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, but it is. I find it's hard to kind of like figure out what you're gonna do for your long form content. Obviously, you were saying you have your original songs you're posting. So I guess for you, are you aspiring to like not just be a content creator, but also just like perform like your original music? Is that kind of like the idea?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And when I got into content creation in the first place, I didn't even think that I would become a full-time content creator. I mostly did it so that I could bounce ideas off of a live audience during the pandemic when all the live venues were closed, so I could see what original ideas I had that were more interesting or less interesting to an objective audience, not just my friends that will tell me, oh, this sounds good, man, but to just random people on the internet that will be pretty honest. And right now, I'm thinking I mostly build my audience on all my platforms so that down the line I can tell them, hey, I have a live show at this date. Please come out, and hopefully some people will come through. And to yeah, just to broadcast my music to as big an audience as possible and get people to my Spotify, get people to the various things that I'm doing. So I started off not even thinking of being a content creator, but yeah, that's kind of led me to where I am now.
Yeah, for sure. And I like the shorts you post, because it's like you're playing these intricate pieces, but you're also kind of taking the element away from just like, hey, here's this piece I'm playing. You're kind of like, oh, like this song sounds easy, but it's hard. This song's hard and
Yeah.
it's hard. So it's cool like approach because you're kind of taking, I don't know. I feel like there's some sort of like hack where you can, if you just sit down and you're like, here's the song I'm playing, people will scroll past it. But if you're somehow like I don't know, like taking that element away by introducing some other like factor, it does help with like the content. I find. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting because I had this experience almost a year ago to the date, maybe a little bit, maybe about 14 months ago, where I wrote four different, maybe 10 or 20-second loops basically on the guitar that could be guitar parts to songs. I had written a few and I posted them all separately with no prompt. And I think one of them did well. One of them got a couple 100,000 views, and then the others just did okay. And I thought, you know what? Let me put all these together into a single video with a prompt, and the prompt was how to impress a pianist, drummer, singer, and guitarist. And that video, it was the same music, right? It was the same exact music. Just in that prompt, like, went to 2 million views, got me at that time, it actually got me a couple really cool gigs that I really enjoyed playing. And that video led me to meeting all these various people because someone saw it and then said, hey, can you play like in my band? And through that, I did a lot of other things. So just putting it into some kind of a story or into some kind of format that entices you to listen to the end can draw people to your music even more, I've found, which is kind of a funny thought, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, and that's a good way to put it. You're like kind of building this story with your content, which is great. That's something I need to work on maybe just to get the retention rate a little higher because some of my videos the retention's not as high. I don't know if you've seen if you checked out my page, but I do like where I just ask people on the street if they play guitar.
I saw that. It's really, really cool. It reminded me of one mutual that I have on TikTok who has a booth. I'm forgetting his name. I'll have to look.
See
it
the
up.
guy with the yellow pants there, and he's like, win $50 for the best guitar solo, like that
Oh
guy.
no, no, but that guy is also great. I also know that guy. This guy that I'm thinking about, he has a booth that he sets up on Venice Beach, which is right where I live actually, and he says, if you like electronic music, have a seat at this booth. And he's just sitting there, and all these people are walking by, and you're just kind of watching it thinking, oh, well, someone's eventually going to sit down, right? So you just keep watching. Then someone sits down, and they introduce themselves, and then he shows them their music, and you get to just watch the reaction. You just get to watch the story unfold, and it just gets you enticed. Because one of the things that I think is different about content creation than just playing a live show is that a live show is just the music on display and everyone's listening to the music, and the thought is how engaging and captivating is the music that I'm listening to right now, and that's going to get you to keep listening to it more. But content is really about entertainment, right? So you could even make a really compelling piece of music, but the video itself will do better if it's more entertaining. And entertainment has a lot of other factors that aren't just about the music, which kind of sucks. But also, I've found that if you just accept that and kind of bite the bullet on that and play that game a little bit, it can end up being even better for your music because you can understand how to promote it more and stuff. So it's kind of a tricky game to play, but yeah, lots of creators and lots of musicians that are able to, I've found, that are able to see their content as not just music but entertainment with music as the base of the entertainment. I found have been really successful.
Right. No, 100%. And I'm kind of trying to figure out because there's like my goal with this whole thing, like not this specifically, the interviews is kind of just fun for me, but
Yeah.
like for content creation, obviously, it's not just like a fun thing. Like I did some e-commerce before, but like I'm really trying to figure out a way to like build a platform, monetize it somehow, and like make a living with it. And I'm trying to figure that out, but I've noticed, there's a lot of musicians where, like you mentioned, they focus maybe on just the music thing, and it's like, they gotta maybe do some background, like do some content where they're talking about their music, maybe do some content around their music, just to like attract a different audience, right? And it would somehow help. So I don't know if there's like some course I could create or something to do that. That's kind of like, I'm having these brainstorm sessions for that. But I see you have your Patreon, and you have
Yeah.
you're starting to build this follower base, which is nice because it's a reoccurring income every month.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So like for that, especially your Patreon, like how do you like go about pulling extra people into like subscribing to that? Is it just through your content? Like content, are you doing like a lot of call to actions or?
Yeah. So I'll be upfront with that. I have not been funneling people into my Patreon for that long. So it has been successful for 4 months. I've had it up for 4 months and it's been doing well. So the answer I'll give you now is probably going to be different than the answer I'd give you a year from now or 2 years from now when I've been doing that for as long as I've been making YouTube videos. But right now, what I've found is one, I always get comments on all my platforms in certain videos saying, oh, can you teach me how to play the guitar, or how do you do that? So the number one thing is just replying to those comments saying, hey, you can check out my guitar course. It's only $10. And I'll be really upfront with them too. I can say, hey, we can do private lessons, but most people don't really know how expensive one-on-one lessons are for music. If they're more than $20 an hour, people get kind of shocked. And I'm like, yeah, that's just how it goes. So I reply to comments and DMs all the time, people asking me for lessons. Then the other way that I've found really works for funneling people, which I've been doing recently, is there's lots of people that I see that may have a course or may have something that is a paid subscription that they want to present to their audience, and they'll just say, hey, are you stuck on the guitar? Go sign up for my course, and then the video ends. And those videos don't really tend to do all that well. One thing that I found for me is if I make a video and the intention is to promote my course, one, the video itself needs to be entertaining to the point where you don't even need to understand the guitar or know anything about music, and you could watch it and have a good time watching it and say, oh, that was really, really cool. The other thing it needs to have is you could be a guitar player, learn something from the video, and not sign up for the course, and it would still be valuable. So just providing a lot of value up front and not asking the audience for anything up front, not trying to go into sales mode, because I think people are actually pretty smart when it comes to being sold something. Like, most people are pretty good at knowing when someone wants something from them. Like, you walk into a car dealership or you walk into any place and someone comes up to you and says, hey, do you want to like buy this? You just kind of get turned off right away. Like, hey, I'm just browsing or whatever. So for me, the video needs to be entertaining. It needs to provide value to where even if you don't sign up for the course, you learn something. And then at the end, you say, hey, if you want to know more from this, if this was helpful, then you can also sign up for my course. And I did a few videos like that where I played this song, just the two of us. I did my arrangement of it, and I said, hey, this is one of the coolest things you can do on acoustic guitar. I played something like really flashy kind of right away, so anyone would kind of look at it and go, oh, nice. And then I explained how to do this fingerstyle technique where you can slap the strings with your thumb while flicking your fingers out to hit the chord at the same time. That's a really nice percussive technique that you hear people like John Mayer play in a lot of their acoustic songs that are very groove based, and explained how to do that very quickly. Then at the end said, hey, if you want to sign up for my guitar course, you'll get a lot of more stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. And that video converted really well into Patreon subscribers. And so that's how I've been funneling people already. I'm sure I'll have more things that I will learn, but my intuition now is to make videos like that, with that format, like entertaining, valuable, and educational without needing to pay for anything, and then saying, hey, here's all this free value. If you want to support me or if you want to keep learning this stuff, then you can pay if you'd like to.
No, that's a good breakdown of that, actually. That makes a lot of sense. And especially if you're providing that value up front, like you said, for them, and you're just being kind of honest. And if someone's really was like, wow, he played that really well. I want to see what he's got. They'll go to your website. They'll click your links. They'll check what you have, right?
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense. And in terms of, you said you have so you have like you rent a studio, I guess now because you're kind of a full time content creator. Is that what's on?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm in my studio now. I actually got this studio with um, not with the intention of making it into what it is now. I got it because I wanted to practice singing without anyone being able to hear me. That is the reason. Because a little, like maybe 2 years ago or so, I got really serious into singing because I wanted my vocals to be somewhat on par with my guitar playing for my original songs. And in my apartment, I had roommates at the time and didn't want them to hear me, so I got the studio for that, and then started to put a lot of time and energy into making it as cool of a place as I could, and then realized I can make videos in here 24/7. That led to my output being a lot higher, which really, really helped. And now I have sessions in here with all kinds of people. I use it as a rehearsal space. I record stuff for my own songs in here. I have live drums mic'd up that are ready to go, and now it's kind of become just a full studio. But yeah, that was the original intent of it, actually.
No, that's awesome, man. And I think like having that space like separate from your house, where it's like, hey, I'm going there to like make some videos. You get kind of dialed in, right? There's no distractions. You're not gonna go upstairs, maybe put on the TV. Well, maybe you had a TV there, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you're going to that place to work. It might make it a little better. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes I've always liked that too, because in college when I went to USC, they have practice rooms that are separate from your apartment and or like your dorm. And I always really liked that, just kind of going to where your work is, keeping it separate, coming back in, kind of the clocking in and clocking out thing. And yeah, the studio's a really is the closest thing to that I have, so it's nice.
That's awesome, man. No, that's really cool. And I think for you, I saw YouTube, or maybe TikTok, one of the two. You're around the same amount of followers on both those
Yeah, I
platforms,
think I
right?
have around 220,000 on TikTok and like 190 something on YouTube.
Yeah, and then your Instagram I saw was about to hit 100K, I believe.
Yeah, it just hit 100K last night. Yeah.
Last night. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. That's
Thanks,
huge.
man. Thanks.
That's a big number. That's actually my goal for this year is to hit the
Yeah.
100K on the head. But like, so I guess you said it was about 14 months ago you posted your first video that did really well, right? You said you put it together and it like kind of took off.
Yeah, well, actually, about maybe 18 months ago, I did a collaboration with this artist, Gina Fontanella, who's on TikTok, who has made a lot of amazing videos, a lot of really great content, and she's a fantastic singer and artist as well. And she hit me up when I had maybe 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers, when I was really, I mean, that's not an insignificant amount of people to be paying attention to you, but just relative to where I am today, it was night and day. And she hit me up, and she had, I think, maybe 500,000 or something. So I was shocked. I was like, oh, nice. Yeah, let's get to work together. And she made a video with me, and it blew up on her page where I was like singing and playing guitar with her. It got, I think, like 10 million or something on her page. So then a bunch of people from there went to my channel, and that was kind of the first moment that not like blew me up, but where I had a lot of attention on my page. But the first video that I put out, where it was "This is me" on my page, that really, really did well was, yeah, about 14 months ago, like last year, bleeding into this year now. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's like a huge number to like grow in the last year. And I think YouTube really likes your shorts. I went and saw like, man, like some of those pulled some heavy numbers. Like though that's not nothing, like.
Yeah, yeah. My biggest video ever is a YouTube short, and it has over 23 million views now, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. No, that's nuts, man. Like to be able to hit that, like do something where that many people want to see it, right? And the algorithm, not that the algorithm likes it, because if the algorithm doesn't like it, that means people don't like it. That's what I hear. Because
Oh yeah, that's something I heard Mr. Beast talk about that once. He was on a podcast with I think Lex Friedman or someone, and they were talking about what the word algorithm even means. And he always and he said that you could replace algorithm with human psychology. If people are emotionally invested in it or want to keep watching it, then it's going to spread really, really fast and it's going to be engaging and it'll get a lot of views. And the algorithm is just a reflection of what people want to spend their time watching. So, yeah, a lot of people well, not a lot of people, but some people will come up and say, oh, the algorithm just doesn't like me and stuff like that, or the algorithm's this. And I just always think, well, I mean, not in a harsh way. Like it happens to all of us. I've had videos that have flopped so many times, right? But when I was making those videos, it wasn't, the algorithm that hated me. It was, oh, this video just wasn't engaging to watch. People didn't really want to watch this one. And that's okay. Like that is something that everyone goes through. So, yeah.
right, and you say like so. I guess you watch. Do you specifically watch certain content to like I guess informative content to help with your content creation strategy a little bit, or are you kind of just going with kind of what works?
Yeah, yeah. So my the way that I approach it is kind of from day one. The way that I approached it was I'm gonna put something out there, analyze how well it did, put out another thing, analyze how well it did, put out another thing, and look at what did the best, figure out what was different, kind of double down on that, and then split that up into a bunch of iterations, throw all of that at the wall, see what did the best out of that, double down on an aspect of that, throw a bunch of stuff at the wall that's iterations of that, kind of double down, double down, double down, and find and just to find what people like. Because lots of times I've written things where I say to myself, "Oh, this is going to be a hit. This is amazing." And then I post it and it's a dud. And then there's things that I make in a very short amount of time where I'm like, "I guess this could be cool. I don't really know." And people end up loving it, so I double down on that. I don't really so lots of ideas that I'll get. I will look at other people that are in a similar vein as me that are making music, see what they do that's successful, and do my own version of that. Not of the music itself, but I might see a guitar player covering a song and he spoke about it or she spoke about it in a certain way. And I'll think, oh, that's really cool. I'm going to take that prompt, right, and play a different song. But yeah, I've listened to Mr. Beast talk about how to make content just because, I mean, his success has just been so crazy. And a lot of his interviews are just, I live in Los Angeles, so I have a lot of car time. And anyone that knows LA knows you're going to be in your car for probably 2 hours a day. So it's good to listen to a podcast or music or something. So sometimes I'll put on some of his interviews to just think about how his brain works with content creation and, yeah, he talks about a lot of really cool stuff, but most of the ways I consume content to learn is just from watching people in a similar vein as me and kind of see what they're up to and what ideas I can incorporate from their style into mine.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess you were talking about that lady you collabed with. Have you done any other collaborations that have kind of spiked your following? 'Cause I think collaborations are huge. Even for myself, I like talking to anyone who's doing well in the space because means they're doing something right, and I want to get as much information as I can. So, like from you as well, I'm seeing okay, he's pulling like millions on YouTube, pulling this. Like, not that that's the only reason I'm talking to you. Like, I'm trying to make
Okay.
helpful and useful content for people.
Yeah.
But where because there's definitely a lot of people in my shoes or your shoes 2 years ago. That's like, how can I get into this space? So hearing
Right.
Dominic talk about how he did it, or
Yeah.
I interviewed what's his name, Alex Misko yesterday, and
Oh,
then
great.
yeah, dude,
Yeah, he's awesome.
he's an awesome guy, man. And then I talked to Mike Dawes last week, and I think this is like a a fingerstyle. Like I'm gonna have a 3-part series of
Let's
fingerstyle
go.
players. Like Mike Dawes
Best
asked me
style.
to go, and
Let's
then
go.
there we go.
No.
Yeah, that's actually my primary. Like I used to play electric, and then I got into acoustic, and then I got to know Lindsey Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac, and
Yeah.
so I like during like maybe 2019, I started learning like any of his songs he does
Yeah.
like, by himself live, and they're so amazing, man. Some of the
Oh yeah.
renditions he does. Anyway, sorry to wrap back to the question I was going to ask you is, yeah, who like have you done any other collabs with people?
Yeah. So I actually about maybe 18 months ago to 2 years ago, I started doing a lot of collabs that really, really helped me. And one of the things that, looking back on it now, it makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about this at the time, but my skill set in music primarily, especially at that time, was just playing the guitar, which works really, really well with singers, right? So I had that girl Gina Fontanella hit me up. She introduced me to Lauren Spencer Smith, who is doing really, really great right now, and her songs are really, really awesome. And we all three of us had a session, and then she introduced me to Natalie Jane, and we did a bunch of videos in the car where I was in the back seat just playing the acoustic guitar while they're singing powerhouse vocals in the front seat. And I went down this line of playing with singers, which was just a really natural collab to do because I could back them up on guitar and make them look really, really good, or as good as I can. And they would really boost my engagement and my following too. So yeah, I did a bunch of collabs with singers, and then that really helped my fan base grow on my page. And then what I started to do was, it hit a certain point now where I think my channels are big enough where certain creators will just see my stuff and reach out to me. I don't really look out actively for collabs anymore. If people hit me up, that's fantastic. I'm super down. I'm gonna do a collab today after this actually, but I don't have any collab goals right now because personally for me with my career and the music that I put out, I like to be as in control of the outcome as I can be, and I like to just have my music and my songs and just push it out. And I'll write for other artists all the time, I'll write with other people all the time, I still do, but there was a big time where I would be doing 5 collabs a week or 4 collabs a week. Now it's looking like maybe like 2 or 3 a month, which is still a lot, but yeah, building up my following and building up my page in the beginning really came from those singers that actually Gina introduced me to, for sure. So that was a big thing that she helped me out with.
Well, that's cool, man. And that, like you said, now your page has kind of grown to a point where you're able to just kind of do the content you like doing, and,
Right.
And now you're also have all your singles. Like I saw on your Linktree. Linktree
Yeah.
was it? Yeah, you have your new original coming out. Maybe you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I have a new song, "Can't Save You," coming out on April 23rd, and this year what I'm doing, I'm probably going to do this for maybe the next 2 years actually, is I'm going to put out a single once a month. And when I started in the beginning of this year, I thought it was going to be this huge grind and it was going to be really, really tough. But actually making that many songs is not as hard as I thought, because I'm really used to the content creation mode where you're just working on stuff all the time and you need to put out stuff every day. So the hardest part is honestly just booking the sessions for the album artwork and getting that done because you got to rely on other people and stuff. But yeah, I'm really excited about that single. It'll be coming out on the 23rd. I think most artists tend to think that their best song is the one that's going to come out next, but I really think this one's my best one so far. So yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm stoked to hear it. And who does your mixing? I'm just curious for your like sound, like all the songs and music videos?
Yeah, so all of the music videos are done by my friend Lucas, Lucas Masori. He is on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. He's an amazing video editor, an amazing producer, amazing audio engineer. He mixed my first two songs, Changes and Wildflower. And then my friend Dylan actually mixed the last two songs I did, Room 305 and Grenadine Daydream, and he mixed the one that's coming out now too, Can't Save You. And working with both of them has been awesome. They're both really great people. But my friend Lucas does all the video stuff. If you see me making any cool video, then it's gonna be with Lucas. We actually just put out this string comparison video that's doing really, really well right now. In less than 12 hours, I think it has, I don't even know how many views on TikTok now, but it has I think 150,000 in the first
Wow.
16 hours or so. And he did all the video editing,
Oh, nice.
all of the recording. So if you see any really cool videos like that with really great camera quality and stuff, it's all him.
Yeah, I did notice that that one was set up a little different. It was like you were kind of far away from the camera, set up nice and clean shots. And I
Yeah.
just pulled it up on, yeah, even on Instagram, it's already at 43,000, which is a lot of views in the first 24 hours. I left a
Yeah.
comment yesterday just because
Oh, I think I
just
saw it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I left a comment just to not to boost the algorithm, but I was like I thought it was a pretty interesting idea because there's so many different price points when it comes to strings, and people are always stuck to one string. And for me, I think it's more of the feel. Like if I got maybe a
It
coated,
is.
like a Diodario or D'Addario, whatever,
Yeah.
because you can get 3 packs of Diodarios for like $30, where it's like here in
Yeah.
Canada, it's like $27 or something, $24, 27 for a pack of elixirs. But
Right.
I've used to buy elixirs when they were like, I don't know, $10.
Yeah.
So
Right.
no, that's pretty cool. And so you were talking about consistency and posting a lot of content, and now you're going to be doing that with your music as well. What do you find consistency is like a huge part of content creation, like not letting too much time go by without posting a video?
Yeah, yeah. So what I found with that is that volume and quality are kind of the two big pillars of music that I try to adhere to with my originals, with my songs, and with my content. And what I've found is that they're both kind of equally important. So I used to say I need to make a video every single day, no matter what, especially when I first started. And I think that's a good thing to do for a little bit because I think it'll force you to get over any fear of a video flopping. It'll kind of force you to arrive at the results of what videos of yours do well and which don't do well in a shorter amount of time. If you post every day for 3 months, you have a lot of data that you can look at in a short amount of time. But if you kind of do once a week, if you do twice a month or something, you would need maybe a year to arrive at that same data point, right? So I think it's really beneficial for that. In hindsight, there are times where I should have probably just waited 2 days and thought of a great idea, made a great video, and then put it out. So it's not that volume is more important than the quality. I once almost thought like that, and I was just sending stuff out. But yeah, consistency is really important insofar as people forget all the time, and the attention span on the internet is so bad to the point where you can put out an amazing video and in 2 weeks, I guarantee, no one's going to remember it, right? And the good thing is that you can put out a bad video, and in 2 weeks, no one's going to remember it either, right? So there's a good and bad side to that, I guess. But if you consistently put out great stuff, you will, yeah, the world is yours. Even on my Instagram page, I didn't really ever think of posting on Instagram to build a following or build any business I had. And then at the beginning of this year, I think I had something like 8,000 followers, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna start building my Instagram. I want to hit 100K by the end of the year. And what I did was I had a backlog of all these YouTube and TikTok videos that I knew hit on those platforms. And twice a day, I put out kind of my biggest hits of videos. And I went like boom, 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 just every single day with two a day. And then after like 3 months or so, I ran out of backlogged videos. But in that 3 month time period, I think I got 90,000 followers in 3 months or so, just from that consistency of putting out all that stuff. And then we hit 100K yesterday. And if I had spread those videos out over a long period of time, it wouldn't have grown that quickly, and the average engagement wouldn't have been as good. I think now people see the consistency and the quality and are just really locked into the page now, to the point where the average engagement on my Instagram might even be the best of all of my channels. It's a kind of a toss-up. They're all like around the same, but yeah, consistency isn't more important than quality, but it's definitely as important. And actually, on another note with that, even with just writing songs, I've found that if I put out a song a month, my monthly listeners just boom go up and up and up. And I've only been putting out songs on Spotify for maybe like 4 months or so, but I'll probably hit, and this isn't a lot or anything, but I'll probably hit maybe like 10,000 monthly listeners in like a week or so. And if I spread out my songs, I just know that growth won't happen nearly as quickly.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's awesome, man. And 10,000 is a lot, especially since it's original. Not that your content's not original, but like it's an original piece of music, and I think that's like
Right.
the hardest area to break into, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just to touch on. Like I remember watching Mr. Beast talk about it. He's like, no one's gonna see your first video, so don't worry too much about the quality. He's just like post your 100 videos, improve something every time, and then when you get to your 100th video, then we'll start talking, about.
Exactly.
Because I think, and like that's the hardest part, I think. And I have a couple buddies like that too, where it's like they want to start posting content. They're like, oh, but I don't know. I want to make sure it's good and stuff. And like I went through that too, and then you're like thinking like, oh, who's gonna see this? What are they gonna think about it? And
Right.
kind of getting past that and being like, whoever doesn't support it, like I don't need to talk to you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that doesn't sound like my problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Because you're trying to build something for yourself, and like the digital economy, like content creation into the digital economy is like a huge thing right now. It's here, and if you're not like taking advantage of it, you're kind of living in the past. So maybe talk more about like the business side of things a little bit, if that's okay
Yeah.
with you.
Sure.
Yeah, so like what do you have any other plans in terms of like, so you have your Patreon obviously, and then you're making
Yeah.
your YouTube, your income from your views. Have you worked with any brands yet? Do you have any brand deals?
Yeah. So actually, the funny thing about the brand deals is I had a few brand deal offers in the past year when I was just mostly on TikTok and YouTube. But for whatever reason, once my Instagram started blowing up, then like a bunch of brand deals started to come my way. I think companies might view that as a more legitimate source of followers and attention, which I think is ridiculous. I think attention is attention. If it's in any area, that's people watching you. But I don't know. I think a lot of companies might see that differently, which is fine. I have I'm in talks with this string company now, which is actually part of the reason why I made that string video. Is I haven't signed anything yet, so I wanted to make like one just objective, fun video without the intention of selling anything. And it's this string company called Augustine, and they're gonna work with me. It's really funny because they're a string company that was kind of with me from my classical guitar days, because they're primarily a nylon string company, so they make strings for classical guitar. And they reached out to me after I graduated from USC and thought, hey, do you want to work with us and get some strings from us and shout us out? And I said, sure. And then this content thing kind of blew up, and then now they reached out to me again and said, hey, can we do like a really like basically like a legit brand deal, and they've been fantastic. So I'm going to be working with them. I'm in talks with Taylor too, with Taylor Guitars, about doing something which should be really cool because I play a Taylor in all of my videos. I'm also in talks with Martin. They're sending me a guitar pretty soon that I will be showing to the world. And I do a lot of Martin versus Taylor videos with my friend Eli and by myself too. And those videos tend to be really engaging and do really well. So I'll do some kind of objective Martin versus Taylor videos, which seems to be the ultimate question in acoustic guitar. Is it the Martin or the Taylor? So, yeah, I'll be working with both of those companies. And now let's see, I think, oh, and then Patreon itself actually reached out to me to share some of my videos in a brand deal. It's a little bit different because they're just paying me for content to post on their platform and are talking about putting me on some of their pages. So, yeah, there's a bunch of little brand deals like that I'm looking forward to. So far, a lot of talks, nothing except for the string deal, nothing like concretely signed. But everyone that I've talked to has been really nice and really encouraging. So I'm looking forward to all those things happening.
That's really cool. And for like the Martin and Taylor situation, do you reach out to them, or you tag? I guess it's just from tagging them in the videos they saw it, right?
Actually, I never thought about tagging them. I was at NAMM. I don't know if you know that convention in
No.
Anaheim. Yeah, it's basically a music vendor convention where they rent out this what would you call it? This really massive space that is right next to Disneyland, and
Convention center sort of thing.
yeah, that's it, a convention center, and they rent it out, and every single gear company in music, every guitar company, every plugin, everything like that sets up a booth, and me and my friend went up to the Taylor booth and said, "Hey, I've been making videos using your guitars. These videos have reached this amount of people over this period of time. I think we could do business together in a way that would be really cool. And seeing as though I'm already playing a Taylor, I feel like we could do some good work together." And they were really on board. The lady, Lindsay, that we met with was really nice and really seemed to want to work together. And then we had a Zoom call, the three of us together, and talked about some possibilities for the brand deal, and that's kind of how the ball got rolling. It's one of those very few in-person deals that I initiated, not on the internet through tagging, but just going up to them and shaking hands and being like, "Hey."
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I've been tagging Martin in every single one of my Do You Play Guitar
Nice.
videos because I have a mini. It's a little Martin XL.
Yeah.
They got everyone to sign. And yeah, I've been tagging them in every video. I'm like, come on, like let's set something up, And even for me, it's like, hey, do you want to? We'll use a guitar that we can just give away to the person who says yes to playing. I think that'd be the coolest thing if I could like
That's
set
so
that up
cool.
right.
I would
But
love
no,
to do that.
that right. I think it would add another element to the videos, right? But not to flip it to me, but yeah, it's like go back to what you're saying. Like that's pretty cool that within basically a 2-year span of like kind of dialing in on your content. You've built out a Patreon page, and you're in talks with a couple different brand deals. Like that's not nothing, man. Like that's. And how old are you?
I'm 28. I just turned
Yeah,
28.
you're 28. Okay, yeah, so I'm a year older. So like that's a lot to accomplish in such a short time. And if you look, you got another 30 years ahead of you, like in before you're 60.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
like imagine what you can get done by then. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure it'll be massive. So like good on you, man. Like
Oh, thank you.
nothing but props for you.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that recently because, yeah, I've really only been doing this for a couple of years now, and every 6-month slot of time has been exponentially better than the previous. So I've just found that if I just put my music and myself out on the internet in the best possible light consistently, it leads to all these other intangible things that I want. and I can't really put my finger on how it happens. I think just the more eyeballs you have and the more ears you have on your music, just the better things seem to come. So thank you. I appreciate that. Hopefully it keeps on going.
Right, 100%. And I think probably people do see that like you're being just like the honest content. You know what I mean? You've put the time in to be a good guitar player, like a really good guitar player. You got the techniques down, and then you're also spending the time, like you're saying, to make the content look good. You're not just throwing it out there. So like, I think just having that effort, that consistency, it's going a long way. And I watched this guy. His name's Dan Coe. He's on YouTube. He's kind of blowing up now, but he talks a lot about business and the content creation side of things, and that's where he like coined the term digital economy. But that's where I'm trying to like learn as much as I can about like the business side of things. But it seems like for you, like just by being natural and yourself, you kind of build out your own niche, and you're able to like just monetize it from there, right? Like it's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So that was a question that I was always thinking about too, because a lot of my friends, or not a lot of my friends, but I would hear people talk about making videos in the beginning and immediately ask the question, how can I cash out and just make a lot of money right now? And what I always thought was, I looked at certain really successful podcasts and certain entertainment platforms, and the pattern that I always saw was that these entertainment platforms and podcasts would put out a lot of entertainment, a lot of value for a really not like a really really long time, but for a while, and then hold out for a bit and cash in on a big payday later. So what I actually actively did in the first year and a half or so was intentionally didn't sell anything or didn't promote anything that the audience would have to pay for. I just thought, how do I build up a fan base? How do I only provide value to people for a long time so that eventually down the line I could cash out on something really big that wouldn't be, anything that would sell me out or anything, right? But that was kind of my strategy. Like I thought of, I don't know, like the first podcast that comes to mind is like Joe Rogan's podcast, right? Just kind of making podcasts, not really selling people anything intentionally off the bat, and then really far down the line he signed some crazy Spotify deal for, I'm sure, like hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm not saying that's what I'm going to do, but he kind of put out a lot of entertainment that a lot of people wanted to see, and then down the line he just had so much attention on him that the money just kind of came after that. I'm not a millionaire or anything or anywhere close to it, but that's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. Is now I'm starting to kind of cash in on certain things, monetize a lot more, and just kind of hold off on those bigger paydays by just continuously just putting value out there.
Right. Yeah, and there's I don't know, Alex Hermosi is. He's a business guy. He talks about it. He's like, just you keep putting off the ask, like you say, like, and then at some point you can just like hit him with like a big ask, and then you'll get a nice return, which is good. And I was talking to this guy named Lessons with Marcel. He's a bluegrass content creator.
Oh, cool.
And he was saying that too. He's like, your audience will kind of let you know when they're ready for certain things, right? Like you were saying, like, oh, how can I get lessons from you? Like, so you're like, oh, let me have my Patreon page, and then it's like, oh, where can I get? Maybe at some point someone will be like, oh, where can I get a T-shirt?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Dominic Flynn, and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, let's start pumping out T-shirts, and then it'll be. So on that note, have you ever thought of doing? I know you have your Patreon. Have you ever thought of doing like the one-time? Like I saw you have like a tab book that you sell like one-shot deal. But have you thought
Yeah.
about like building out like, let's say, like a fingerstyle course or like a fingerstyle harmonics course? Because there's like things where you sell just a specific course instead of getting them to loop into the monthly payments.
That is a great question, and honestly, I haven't. I have thought about that, and that is something that I think I'm going to do. I was debating between the monthly subscription versus the big time payout, and a friend of mine who is also making great guitar content on the internet. His name is Eli Koskov. He and I were talking about this, and his strategy right now is he has a guitar course that you can get for, I think it's like a couple $100, and he's trying that route. The reason I went with the monthly subscription is I thought of, like, how does Amazon make money? How does Netflix make money? How do these, like, really big companies make money? And typically what they do is they don't ask you for a lot right away. They say, just give us a little bit all the time, right? And I thought of that. I just thought of how these big companies make money, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try that route and just build up the monthly subscription base. That way, too, because I was thinking if I were going to make a course, which I will do, I am going to make something that you can just buy in a package, because there's a lot of people that just ask me how I play harmonics, and they only want to know how I do harmonics. That's a great idea. I'm actually, now that you mention that, I'm definitely going to build that and just make a harmonics course. But I also found myself making educational videos and thought, well, I should probably add this. No, I should probably add this too. I should probably add this. And I thought, just by the nature of constantly wanting to add things, saying, hey, here's how I play this arrangement, here's how I think about this. The monthly thing made a lot of sense to me, because I could just keep updating it and keep it fresh and just keep it going. But with things like how to play harmonics or subject matters that are kind of in a box, like this is how I think about it, and it won't like develop or change, I think a bundle would be really great too. So I'm definitely going to get into that as well.
No, that's cool, man. But I also think, like you said, the Patreon thing's a really cool idea, because it is that reoccurring income every month. And like, let's say you got, 500 people, 1,000 people at, $10 a month. That's like 10 grand a month reoccurring. Yeah. That's a juicy salary for a year. You know what I mean? And like,
oh, definitely,
then you just have to focus on keeping your audience engaged. And there's this guy from Toronto, his name's Jamie Robinson. He makes like really good content. I would say like similar to yours, where he kind of takes it away. Like, he's an incredible electric guitar player, but he kind of takes the onus away from him by like saying, oh, if this song was, I don't know, rock or metal, or like, I don't know if you've seen it, it's like when you hire a jazz guitar, a metal guitarist for your jazz gig.
Yeah,
like
yeah, I've seen. I might not be thinking of the same exact person as you, but I've seen that video style before, and it's really cool. Yeah.
So to go where I was saying, he started his Patreon page, and he was doing full-time lessons on like Zoom or Skype or something, and then he did that. He made his Patreon, and then he's gotten, he's got about, I think he's got 200 something subscribers on his Patreon, and he says that pays him more than his YouTube subscribers. And he has like, I think he has about around the same as you, about 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he makes some long form videos as well. And he says, even his best performing YouTube video only ever made him like $600. It was a short, and it got like some crazy amount of views as well. But like he said, he was able to make $600 from that. But he's like, he looks at his Patreon page where he's making, a little bit more than that. You know what I mean, per month, and it's every month that he can rely on. So.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic way to go about it. That is kind of my goal, to have like 1,000 Patreon members that are paying and engaged with me, 10 grand a month just passively. That would be really incredible. And I think that almost speaks more to how little YouTube Shorts pays relative per view. Because, if you buy a 30-second ad on like NBC or some television network, and it'll get guaranteed to be seen by 100,000 people, that ad costs way more than a YouTube short that would get seen by 100,000 people. I think my biggest YouTube video, the one with 23 million, this isn't like a small amount of money, but I think it made like maybe like $2 grand or something like that. But if 23 million people saw an advertisement for a product, that's like extremely valuable in any other space. And the flip side of that, though, is that if you run an ad on social media, it is really inexpensive relative to ads in other spaces where there is attention, like television or whatever. So I think the window is open where if you have a product and you promote it on social media, you can get a lot cheaper advertising for that. But the flip side is, yeah, the payments are not probably what they should be. So yeah, building up that Patreon while monetizing the videos, I think that's a great strategy.
100%. And I think touching on that in terms of, using content to like as free advertisement, right, for your song, like for your music, right? Like for you, you've built up this great following, which was technically not free because it's cost your time, right? But at least there's no like not much, like obviously this string video, you had to go out and buy 5 different sets of strings, but like in terms of like, you're getting a lot of natural flow, and you're also getting mostly guitar players, I'm assuming, who are following you, right? So when you release a song, like, you have musicians following you, there's a better chance they're going to listen to it than some like random person.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Like I had someone I know, he's in one of my videos. I saw he was paying for advertising for his new song. I don't know if it cost him $30-40 or whatever to run an ad, and it's like, maybe if you made some content, you would have gotten more attention. If you made your own content, you might have gotten more attention than this random ad did.
Yeah, right. And yeah, I think that's a great point. One of the funny things about my videos too is that lots of times I'll be playing like 3 or 4 or more songs in a particular video. So now when I'm thinking of advertising my songs and I have these compilation videos, I can advertise 3 of my songs at the same time in the same video. Like I have a video on YouTube now that is it's one of those things, like something that looks hard but is easy, something that looks hard, or like something that looks easy but is hard. And in that, I have 2 of my original songs. One that's just on my page, my song Changes, and then another one, Pitch Black Room, that I wrote with my friend Alec Jordan, and it kind of did free advertising for both, and the streams on both just went up like significantly after that video happened. And yeah, it's such a good way to promote your stuff because it'll get seen by so many more people than any like standard ad would, and it's free. I mean, it costs the time, but yeah, you don't have to pay for it at all.
Yeah. When you look at it, like, time is, what's your time worth? I guess is the best
Right.
way to look at it, right?
Yeah.
And I think, especially if you're trying to promote your music, and that's your main focus, then yeah, 100% your time, it's worth the time. And I've found for myself, before it took me however much time to edit like a short, now it's taking a little less time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and you get better at it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out, I'm trying to figure out a good app to use that doesn't cost me too much to do like good subtitles. You know what I mean? Because that's another thing I gotta, where it's like the color changes for every word.
Yeah.
That's like my next.
Could be good. CapCut could be good. CapCut is kind of frustrating on the phone. Like the interface itself, I've run into some trouble with. There's some annoying things, but it does do auto captions really well. So you can just say auto captions and it'll hear what the speech says and put it into text and do the lighting up kind of for you when the words come.
Really?
Yeah. So I would look into that. CapCut is probably the best one that I can think of right now, but yeah.
Yeah, because the one I use is like some rink. It's like a bare bones like editor, and like it says like auto generate the subtitles. I click it, and it's like it's not at all what I was saying,
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, it's pretty funny. But no, like, I don't know, man. Like all in all, man, I'm like really impressed. And also, I was just gonna tell you, I was checking your Patreon. I just opened it now. I don't know if you know, but it actually tells me how much you're making a month from Patreon. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah.
Just fun fact. I won't say it, but like still, that's a nice, like for only having it for however much time. Like that's a pretty cool.
It's
like income to have. Like
extra. It's been about like 3 full months, I would say. So that's pretty cool. And my goal is just to even what I found is even outside of just getting something from it, my goal is to really show people how I play the guitar. And one of the biggest things that I've learned that cost me a lot of money in music school to learn, a lot more than $10 a month to learn, is that playing the guitar well really is simple. It's not easy necessarily, but thinking about things in very simple terms, being very single-minded. There's not like 100 things that you think about at the same time when you play something very, very difficult. There's not 1,000 things that you need to do to get good at the guitar, in my experience. There's like maybe 6 or maybe 4 for a given thing. So when I am making this Patreon page, what I am also really focused on, outside of just building the monetization, which is great, of course, but I do want it to provide value to people and to give people the sense that playing the guitar well should be simple, and it should be easy, actually. Like there's this guy, Pepe Romero, who's a really famous classical guitar player in the classical guitar space. And when I was doing master classes with him at USC, playing these classical pieces, these Spanish pieces, he would always say, playing the guitar badly is hard and playing the guitar well is easy. And I never really knew what he meant, but what he meant is that you should mentally approach the guitar in a way where when you play something, it feels easy to do because you're thinking about the right things, you're not overcomplicating things, you're making things very simple and very easy to understand for yourself. And if I can show 1,000 people how to do that, that would make me feel really, really good. So yeah, that is the goal of the Patreon as well. Outside of just making the money, I do want the money. I want all the money, but you know.
No, but of course, and like it says something that you're really focused on the quality. And I think talking to anyone I've talked to so far, like everyone I've talked to has always focused on the quality, and it seems like that is the way to go, because it might take you longer to get where you're getting, but at the end of the day, you'll end up more successful by taking the time, focusing on like the quality aspect. And like for you, you said you have a degree in classical guitar, plus you had master classes with this Pepe guy, who's probably like a powerhouse of knowledge. And so, and then you're translating this into like your videos where you're trying to take all your information and kind of bring it forward, and then you're charging a very reasonable amount for that. So I mean, like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like,
yeah, if it's a good product and it's at a good price and it's accessible, it'll get used. Like I can't think of any really good product that over time didn't become somewhat successful. And yeah, there's I forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, no, I think that if I just keep plugging away, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. One of the reasons why I made it such a low price point is that the really cool thing about the Patreon business is that it's a digital asset. So if 10,000 people sign up and use it and are using my product versus if one person is using my product, it's the same amount of work for me. So it's in my best interest to kind of build the volume, because if I were selling shoes or something, I'd have to get the materials, I'd have to build it, I'd have to ship it out, and if more people wanted to purchase it, I'd have to purchase more materials and like make a higher quantity of the product. But since it's all digital and it's the information in the videos, as many people as there are on the planet could see it, and it would be the same amount of work for me too. So I think that's one of the really cool things about doing business in the digital world and having a digital asset is that the growth that you can have can really be exponential, because there's no demand of you needing to acquire more materials or do more work based on the demand. The amount of people that consume it is almost completely separate from how much work you need to put into the product, which is a crazy thought to have, really,
Yeah, no, you're right. That's 100% either way. One or 1,000, it's the same for you. It's the same work.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. Like, that's a cool business model. I guess I really only have like one other like question for you. Is like I asked this to everyone to see what it is for you. Like in the last, I guess it could be your whole like musical career, but like maybe we'll focus in on like the content creation stuff. Like, what's something you're most proud of and your accomplishments from it?
Oh wow, yeah. Something that I'm most proud of. Let's see. So, um, I think a few things come to mind. I am there are a lot of people I know that are incredibly talented that would like to get into the space of building a following and building a fan base. And the reason that they don't isn't because they don't work hard or don't have the talent or aren't really good at what they do, but I think a lot of people in reality aren't really willing to put in days and months and years of working at making videos and working on a project without seeing the results immediately in front of them. And I think the thing that I'm mostly proud of what is probably my ability to work really, really hard without needing to see the results right away, which is kind of a vague answer. It's more of like a personality trait, but I've found that if I keep doing that, if I keep working hard every day without necessarily seeing a result in front of my face immediately, that's not going to slow me down. So that's the thing that I'm most proud of, because that personality trait really led to all the other things that I'm proud of, like videos that have a ton of views, really cool brand deals, like a 23 million YouTube video, and all that stuff. That came from me every single day just trying something and not seeing a 23 million view and not making a lot of money in a given day and not succeeding. But yeah, just I think I'm most proud of just the consistent work ethic, I think.
No, and that's good for you, man. And like I think that's like where any successful person will like supersede, right? Is they just keep pushing, keep trying, keep going, keep going, keep going, and like that's the thing, right? Like you go into content creation, you could go 2 years without seeing any financial like compensation for it, right? You could go more, who knows? But it's those people that are willing to keep pushing that, and like yourself, where now you're seeing that because you've decided to do that. So good on you, man. And like I wish nothing from the best for you, you know. And like I hope everything goes well. Maybe we'll connect again in like a year and see where things are going. You know what I mean?
Awesome, man. I'm super down. And I'm looking forward to seeing everything on your channel too. All those ideas that you had I thought are really cool. If you can give away a Martin or start giving guitars to these people too, that's something that just like as a fan of of cool videos, I just want to see. So I'm really excited to check out everything that you do on your page as well. Everything you were saying sounds really, really cool. So yeah, no, let's definitely connect again and catch up on all that stuff. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's good, man. And anyways, I want to thank you. Like, well, I guess we'll cut off here. But like, I just want to thank you so much for doing this, giving us your 2 cents on the content creation stuff, the music side here, and a little bit of your backstory and stuff. It's been really informative for me, and I'm sure for the audience too. And yeah, is there anything you want to shout out before we end it? Basically.
Yes, so a new single coming out, Can't Save You, on April 23rd. The Patreon, if you want to learn how I think about playing the guitar or do anything, basically everything I've learned in like 17 years of playing is on there, put in a very simple way that I think anyone at any level could understand. All of my channels too, I'm putting out videos and music. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Dominic Flynn Guitar. And yeah, hopefully that can provide some value to people. Yeah.